Iswaran just suddenly pleaded guilty. Some of his charges were amended and only 5 charges out of 35 charges were proceeded. If you are confused over why that happened, watch on as I try to simplify everything so that even a 5-year-old will understand. So, you probably know by now that on 24th September, as Speed was in Singapore, Iswaran's trial also speedily ended. You see, in January, he pleaded not guilty to 27 charges that are related to Ong Beng Seng. In March, he pleaded not guilty to 8 charges that are related to Lam Kok Seng. This means he claimed trial, which is to fight for his innocence. So, people were expecting a court battle that will have more viewers than a Suits episode. 4 days of trial from 24 September to 27 September were scheduled, and there were even trial days in November and also from January to March this year. But no way, suddenly on 24th September, first day of the trial, after some amended charges, Iswaran pleaded guilty to the 5 proceed charges instead, leaving the other 30 charges to be taken into consideration for sentencing. I know when you hear this, some of you might be confused, wondering,
charges amended? What happened?
Or some of you might even think,
so he pleaded guilty for 5 charges. That means he's still fighting the other charges for what?
Though most of you will be wondering.
Later last year the new Got Hill store not bad
So what happened? Now, know that I'm going to simplify everything. So if you just want to know the chim version, check out the few articles that I've linked in the description in the YouTube version of this video, or ask your lawyer friend. For a start, we need to look at all the 35 charges. You see, for his 35 charges, 32 are under Section 165 of the Penal Code, obtaining as a public servant. Basically, Section 165 is where he just obtained gift from others without giving anything in return to the gifter. As you can tell, that is serious but not as serious as the next few charges. 2 of the charges are under Section 6A for Prevention of Corruption Act. Now, this is more serious, as this alleged that he received gifts so as to give something in return. It's like you giving your teacher a Prada bag in exchange for 98 marks in your English test, which is illegal.
Cause you want to buy also buy from MBS, not from Pasar Malam.
This is very serious and carries harsher penalty. I mean receiving gift in return for something, not buying fake Prada bag for a teacher. The last charge is the obstruction of justice, which is a rather common charge. So, simply put, initially, he faces 32 charges for taking gifts, 2 charges for taking gifts and giving something back, and 1 charge for trying to hide something. You see, when he was in trial, the 2 charges for taking gift and giving something back was amended into just taking gift. So it became 34 charges for taking gifts and 1 charge for trying to hide something. I know what you are thinking. Can anyhow change one meh? As a matter of fact, that is not uncommon. For example, in the Orchard Towers killing, 7 people were initially charged with murder, but 6 of them eventually have their charges amended. Watch on and you will understand more. So, it appears that Iswaran now agrees to plead guilty as he doesn't agree with the 2 charges of taking gift and giving something back. And here's the thing, there are 35 charges, but eventually only 5 charges proceeded. Now, once again, I know you are thinking, can discount like bargaining in Queensway Shopping Centre one meh? Yeah, and it's not uncommon too. You see, you have read stories of people charged with hundreds of charges but was eventually convicted of just a few charges. For example, Jovin Chu faced 28 charges and eventually only 12 charges were proceeded. Yang Ying faced 347 charges and eventually only 2 key charges were proceeded. These are called proceeded charges. Therefore, for Iswaran, although he faced 35 charges, only 5 charges proceeded, while the other 30 charges will be taken into consideration for sentencing. This means when deciding how to punish Iswaran, they will look mainly into 5 charges, but will also kind of think of the 30 charges that didn't proceed. This leads to the burning question. Why the amended charge and why proceed with 5 charges? For this, only Iswaran, his legal team, and the prosecution can answer. There are usually many reasons for that, like maybe that's what the prosecution wanted all along, or the prosecution not having a strong case, or lack of evidence, or the defendant having a plea bargain with the prosecution and whatnot. A plea bargain is like a private negotiation between the prosecution and the defense, and the details are usually not public. Of course, it's unknown whether a plea bargain took place in Iswaran's case, as other things might have happened which are not public. Therefore, part of the trial on 24 September, which was supposed to be for Iswaran to fight for his innocence, became a hearing for both sides to determine how long Iswaran will be jailed for instead. The prosecution asked for 6 to 7 months jail, while Iswaran's team asked for no more than 8 weeks jail. Iswaran will be sentenced on 3rd October. To know more about the initial charges, watch these videos. And thank you for spending almost 4 minutes with me. I really appreciate it.